Have you ever wondered what the best mobile base in Ark is? If so, then this is the video for you, because today we're going to be building a base on every mountable land dinosaur in Ark to see which one is the best. Make sure to stick around to the end to see what the biggest and possibly best mobile base in Ark is. We're going to judge each base on 3 different categories. First category is how easy it is to tame, second is how useful the base is, and third is how strong the base is. So let's begin. First, we're going to start with the number 4 slot, the Parasaur. The Parasaur is a common dinosaur found in and around swamps and the redwood forest. It can be tamed with trank arrows or darts, making it an easy beginner tame for when you're just starting out on a world. Once knocked out, all you need are berries to tame it. Mayo berries are the best. Once tamed, you are only able to build 32 structures on it. With such limited structures and weight capacity, you have to choose between having all the necessities of a base or having walls for protection, making this dinosaur not very useful as a base, but possibly a good means of transporting multiple dinos across the map. It has decent health and can be protected by building walls around it. But if it goes up against a high level dino, it would probably be in trouble, making this a weak mobile base. I built 2 Parasaur bases to show off what it's capable of. The first base is what I call the tank. It's essentially just a metal box around the Parasaur to protect it. The second base I built is a more practical one. You can use this to transport multiple dinos across the map while keeping you and them safe from the dangers of Ark. Next on the list, coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Bronto. This tame is much like its predecessor, the Parasaur, except it's bigger and better in every way. It's basically the Parasaur on steroids. Again, you can just use trank arrows to tame it, or you can use darts if you have them. If you have a lot of stone, you can also make a trap out of stone gates, but it's not necessary. The cheapest way to knock out the Bronto is to just shoot it with trank arrows and run away, shoot it again, run away, until it's knocked out. Then, all you need to tame it are a bunch of berries and narco berries to keep it asleep, making this dinosaur very easy to tame. Kind of. See, you still need to make the saddle, and unlike the Parasaur, this saddle is sort of expensive, needing 500 hide, 325 fiber, 90 metal ingots, 125 silica pearls, and 45 cementing paste. The silica pearls are going to place this dinosaur in the medium difficulty category. Now let's move on to how useful it is. Unlike the Parasaur, you are able to build 63 structures on the Bronto's platform saddle, making this extremely useful for a base. The Bronto has a base health of 2070, making it double that of the Parasaur. There are plenty of base configurations you can build on this Bronto, from having an offensive turret-filled war machine to having a safe haven base with all of your essential base necessities. So that makes the Bronto easy-ish to tame, an extremely useful base, and a very formidable tame. Now let's move on to my favorite mobile base, and the number 2 slot on our list, the Quetzal. This dinosaur base is a lot different than the previous 2 because, well, it can fly. So let's talk about the first category. How easy is it to tame the Quetzal? Or rather, how hard is it to tame the Quetzal? The answer to this question is that it can be very hard. If you want to tame it solo, then there is only one method and it's extremely hard. You have to have a bunch of honey and an RG for this method. How it works is you have to fly near Quetzal and drop honey in front of it, which will then make the Quetzal fly down a few feet. Then you have to continue doing that over and over until the Quetzal finally reaches the ground, where you have to then place more honey on the ground and place stone gates over the Quetzal once it lands, trapping it inside. At that point, you can knock it out and tame it. But I didn't do that. And I'll be honest, I didn't even attempt that. As soon as I saw how high the Quetzal flew, I instantly knew what I was going to do. And that is the easy taming method, where I invite my friend to play with me. I would pick up my friend with an RG, so that he could shoot the Quetzal mid-air and knock it out. We found a high level Quetzal, so it took us a long time to knock it out. You definitely need trank darts for this one. Then we would just need to follow the bird down and feed it the correct food. The Quetzal needs meat to tame, preferably raw prime meat, as it'll tame it the fastest. Which shouldn't be a problem, because if you're taming a Quetzal, then you should have easy access to prime meat already. These taming requirements are going to put the Quetzal in the very hard to tame category. Now, let's move on to the next category. How useful is the mobile base? This is going to be the most versatile mobile base on today's list. You are able to build 40 structures on this platform saddle, which is 8 more than the Parasaur, but 23 less than the Bronto. This might seem like a low number at first, until you realize you can spend all 40 structures on utility and base necessities instead of worrying about defense. Since this mobile base can fly, you don't need to worry about protective walls or turrets to keep it safe, allowing you to focus all 40 builds on your chest, furnaces, beds, workbenches, and any other base amenities you see fit, making this an extremely useful mobile base. I ended up building a decent looking base with a cannon on top. There is a bunk bed and a storage crate added as well. The cannon and storage crate serve a specific purpose, and that is so I can tame the Titanosaur. We'll get into that more in a second. Now, let's talk about how strong and defensive this base is. The Quetzal's base health is 1200 HP, which is higher than the Parasaur by 100, which is a decent amount of health. But like I mentioned earlier, if the base is under attack by a dinosaur or a person, you can just fly away, making the Quetzal a very hard to tame, extremely versatile, and extremely strong mobile base. Now, let's move on to the last mobile base, the biggest and strongest base on today's list, coming in at the number 1 slot, the Titanosaur, aka the Titan. This is the biggest dinosaur in the game, and it allows you to build enormous bases on their back. So let's talk about how to tame them. Taming this dinosaur was the biggest pain in my ass. There are 2 ways to tame this. You can use a mech suit and shoot rockets at its head to knock it out, but I'll be honest, I don't even know how to make a mech suit, so that was out of the question. The other method, and the most common one, is to shoot cannonballs at its head to knock it out. The Titan can only be knocked out by cannonballs or rockets hitting its head, and the rockets have a high chance of killing it. The only way to hit the Titan with a cannonball is to mount it on a Quetzal, and then fly towards the Titan and shoot it mid-air. It seems straightforward, but oh my gosh, it is not easy at all. We spent an hour of our lives flying around the stupid dinosaur's neck trying to shoot a cannonball at its forehead. We ended up using over 200 cannonballs on this dude, and if you hit its neck at all, it won't count as a headshot. Oh, and do you know what aiming the cannon looks like? It's horrible. There's no first person aiming, it's all just eyeballing it. Luckily, 30 minutes into the fight, I had an idea. If I went in first person while flying the Quetzal and opened the front doors, then I would have a perfect view of the cannon above me and could essentially aim it like a real gun. So then I would just line up the shots and tell my friend when to shoot. And eventually, after an hour of that shenanigans, we finally knocked it out.
Is that it? We got it!
No way!
No way!
Oh! It's done!
Let me go put it on.
Get that saddle.
Yes! Yes!
That
Yes!
is awesome.
Titan Man! Let's go!
Do you hear that roar?
Oh!
Luckily, there is no feeding it. Once you knock it out, all you have to do is put the saddle on it. However, the saddle cost 4,000 metal and 1,600 cementing paste. Luckily, I had most of that already, but still, that's outrageous. So with these taming requirements, this is going to put the Titanosaur in the nearly impossible to tame category. Now, let's move on to the next category. How useful is it? So this answer is going to vary from situation to situation. I personally play PvE and usually solo, so I don't have any reason to have this mobile base. But I will say, building on this thing was extremely fun, and now my base looks so badass. I'll show off the base in a second. For PvP purposes, I believe this is a super strong tame for raids, so I'll put this in the kind of useful category. Now, let's move on to how defensive and strong this base is. This mobile base is by far the strongest base out of today's list. We tamed a level 5 Titan, which is the highest level they can get, and it has a whopping 300,000 health. That is like 15 Brontos on steroids. That's insane, which puts this tame in the strongest dinosaur category. I've honestly lost track of the categories, but let's take a look at what a base on this dinosaur can look like. After many hours of taming, moving, and building, I present to you Titan Man, the Titanosaur, and my new mobile castle. This is the finished Titan base, the biggest mobile base in Ark. Taming the Titan was a humongous task. It took over an hour of preparation and then another hour of resource collecting just to make the saddle. Then we chased it with the Quetzal and cannon combo for an additional hour trying to knock it out. And I'll be honest, halfway into the fight neither one of us thought we were going to be able to knock it out. But we did it, and now we have a luxurious walking castle as our reward. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a like and I'll be sure to make more content like this. If you have anything you want us to do a video on, then let me know in the comments. I read and reply to everybody. I hope you have an amazing day. Hey there, I'm Mur, the guy that just made that video. I wanted to pop in before the video ends to say thank you to everyone that made it this far. I really appreciate you all. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, then go ahead and hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I appreciate all the support I've been getting. You guys make the time and effort it takes to make videos worth it. I hope you have a great day.